Welcome to the Coach V Show, your personal development show and podcast for personal development to level up in your life, leadership, and business, and also the Polynesian Sports Center today, because today we have the Epi Sitanilei, who is going to the Ohio State University football, who just won the Natty and then came off an amazing career playing defensive end at St. John Bosco. My toko Epi, welcome to the show, baby. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Man, thank you. So how are things? Ohio State just won the Natty,
Damn.
right? How is everything in your world in terms of football?
Man, football is great. I'm just blessed to be here. Football got me here, so, I got to thank God for that. But, man, Ohio State, as far as that goes, man, I was surprised myself. They're the great team, but just to be committed to a school that went that far, it's kind of like, dang, I'm going to a place I've never seen anybody around me go. So, it's like nerve-wracking, but, I'm excited. I'm blessed. I'm here.
And I heard through the grapevine you committed to Ohio State after they lost at home to Michigan. So this commitment is one that's not just because you're winning. But, why did you commit to those guys after they were the third place team in the Big Ten, got killed by their arch rival, and you committed to them that day? Talk us through and the viewers on what the mindset was that day.
So, my great friend that was at Notre Dame, actually, Kingston Villiamosa, just talking to him about recruiting, one thing he would mention was like, when you are looking at a school, you got to look at everything other than football. So, past the losses, past the wins, past the just everything that has to do with the school or the football program and everything around the football program. So stuff like, the community they have, the type of players are on the team, the type of teachers they have, just little things, even like the way schools run. Some schools have quarter systems and some schools have semester systems. So it's like you got to look at everything and what truly fits for you. But ultimately, really, the first thing you need to look at is where God wants you to be. And that's what we're kind of big on. We have this thing after school called devotions, Kingdom Vibes Devotions. Shout out to my pastor. And we kind of go there together. And the first thing we look at before anything is God. And so picking this school or picking any school, you kind of have to pray into what we're going to. And that's just what I was comfortable with. And before that, being committed to another school, it was like I still prayed to God that he would put me in the position and the place that I need to be in. And, that was Ohio State. Whether they lost by 50 points or they won by 50 points, God wanted me there. And that's told me why I chose that.
That's awesome. Introduce our audience and the viewers to your family, mom and dad, brothers and sisters, favorite uncles, aunties, wherever it is that you want to go with that. Introduce us to your family, please.
So I got my pops, Epi Sitanilei. Shout out to my pops. My mom, Sylvia West. My pops is from the IE, Ontario, California to be exact, and my mom's from South Central. We got 3 brothers, 3 sisters. So I got my brother, Jalen. I'm the youngest of them all, but you want me to go down the line over my family? Or?
Whatever you want to do, yeah. Introduce us.
I'm gonna get the attention to myself. I'm not gonna say all their names, but I'm gonna say I do got a couple favorite siblings and a couple favorite uncles. But my main one right here, man, he got his own show and he invited me on it. So you my favorite for now. We got
True Tongan.
We got my uncle Dave here. My uncle Dave, we Uncle LA. It's a big shout out to him because his brother is my trainer. His son is who I look up to. So, I just got to shout out my uncle real quick while I got the platform. And I just want to say thank you one more time for having me on the show.
Automatic. Hey, believe me, I know who you is. I know who your daddy is and your mama. But you here because you bring value to this show, right? Sure. I'm not even the platform. The platform is you, and I serve you on this show to make sure to highlight us and Island City, highlight the stories out there that people need to know. And on the block, when it comes down to Halafa, you the highest ranking recruit, not just the first Tongan to go to Ohio State. On our block that I grew up on, you are the highest recruit ever for the Halafa boys, the boys in the IE, San Bernardino Valley, Chaffee High School, Colony High School, Ganesha High School, right? You are that guy, right? And then, you're right in there with Yona's nephews, with DJ, right? And then Mateo, and you played with all of them there, right? So you've really attracted yourself into a situation that's really awesome, and I want to applaud that, man. Great job by you. So phenomenal job. So talk about Coach Day.
Yep.
Cause from a sofa coach like me, I've been a sofa coach for
Yeah.
the last 12 years. And I got all conference sofa coach of the year twice,
Okay.
right? So talk about he looks really intense.
Yeah, he does.
And like that dude does not shoot from the hip. He has processes, protocols, procedures.
Yep.
He has standards, expectations. Talk about why you chose Ohio State and did he become a factor in that?
Man, to be honest, not too much. Or my decision was really based on things that didn't really have to do with him. My relationship with him is kind of scarce because
Mhm.
you know, I have my personal coach. When you're at the high school level, it's kind of like you get your relationship with more coaches on the staff due to the fact that there's less coaches in high
Mhm.
school than there is in college. So the more coaches there is in college, kind of the less of a relationship you have with other
Mm.
coaches. So my coach is specifically just for DNs, and then in high school you have one coach for like the whole D line.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to have a relationship with everybody. But you know, with him being the head coach, I do have a relationship with him. It's just not I wouldn't say it's just as strong as my relationship with my coach personally, Larry
Mhm.
Johnson. So,
That's real.
but to touch on that point that you made, or the question you made, he's a cool guy. Like personally, as a coach, you know, I haven't gotten there yet, so I can't really say.
Mhm.
But
That's
he's
real
definitely-
talk because you about
yeah.
to find out.
Man, yeah, and I'm kind of scared because, like you said, he does look like an intense guy, man. I don't want to mess up, and he's up here chewing me out, you know, in private. But the conversations I have had with him, he seems like a really genuine guy. You know, he really wanted to know about me and my family. My mom and him had a great conversation, and just looking how he has his body language and everything, just it really touched me of how much he wanted to actually get to know me.
That's awesome.
You know, being a kid like from Harlem Falls, like we get overlooked a lot. I feel because we're from the IE, and you know, I just like the way he took care of the people I came with, and it's just the way his attitude was towards my family is what I liked most.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Talking about family, let's go to the St. John Bosco family and the memories that you built there. I mean, you won a national title at the high school level,
Sure.
right? And then you've had some opposition to that with a team in your league with Mater
Man.
Dei, right? There's been definitely some up and downs in your career in high
Yeah,
school.
definitely.
And then also shout out your sister who drives you all the way from one side of the IE all the way to Bosco. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, shout out to my sister Yoni. It's my second oldest. But anyways, I was playing. Shout out to my sister. Yeah, so man, I had lots of ups and downs in this high school career. But at the end of the day, it's just high school, man. You know, I know this is where your life just started. You know, you graduate, your life really starts. You go to college, you know, you start to be an adult. So I never took too much of that up and down to heart too much. You know, I never really took anything personal that happened in my high school career. But man, them guys in red, and they're pretty good. But man, I still have a hatred for that, man. Like I never really took anything personal in high school, but them losses I took to Mater Dei, man, that really hit the heart.
Yep.
You know, I got some cousins on the other side. I got some family that was on the other side. Shout out to my cousins, Lecky, the Holani boys. Seawall, you know, my boys. You know, I lost to them. We beat them one year. Man, my last year, the senior year, I couldn't do it. But, you know, so it did hurt. But, you know, it's just high school. I'm ready to move on at this
Yeah, very good. Talk about how hard it is to be a champion,
man.
especially in the most elite and talented league on the planet in the game of football. I mean, that's real. People are like, oh, yeah, that league right there is the SEC. Well, no, it is the Big Ten of the country
Big Ten.
now, because the last two champions, Michigan and Ohio State, are from the Big Ten. So then if we're going to categorize it like that, right, your league is the Big Ten of high school football on the planet. What is the pressure and how does that feel like? How hard is it to be a champion?
Man, I would say mine's just kind of different. I came from the teams that I played on prior, like youth ball, they were already like a top. So if you go
And who
back,
did you play for? Tell them.
the IE Ducks.
The IE
Shout out to
Ducks,
the
yeah.
IE Ducks. So it's like me, it was kind of like I was preparing, not knowing that I was preparing for it, but during like youth ball, I was kind of preparing for the top level of play because in youth ball, I was playing with the top players. You know, because those players in my class, we had like kids like Jordan Davison, who's going to Oregon. He's a running back at Mater Dei.
Yep.
We had Marcus Harris. We just had like a whole bunch of kids that were like already developed in youth ball to the fact that, or to the extent that they were even developed enough to play.
They were about that life.
Yeah, you know,
As
like,
youth,
yeah.
right? Yes.
So it was like going into these high schools, it was kind of like we're prepared, you know. So I feel like that's kind of what sets us further than other schools in the country because our teams. And one thing about the Ducks is they will travel to the if you
Yeah,
thought
that's
you were,
right.
if you thought you were the best in Florida, or we'll travel to Florida just to prove that you're not. And no, and doing that, it prepared us to go. We went to high school, and then my freshman year, we were traveling to Virginia, played teams in Virginia, and then we'll travel to Florida, played Miami Central, and it was like we're just being prepared in these years of 7th and 8th grade, and then holding back again just to do it one more year, and then going into high school. So I feel like, you know, for me, my answer would be that I think I was prepared to go into St. John Bosco. Not to say that, you know, I'm the best player or that I'm good enough, but just that I was prepared and I knew what to expect going into high school. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, you prepared to be. So how hard is it to be a champion? It's fucking hard.
Man, oh yeah, to say
It's
that,
hard,
yeah.
right? But if you prepare to be a champion,
Yeah, then you know what
right,
to expect. Yeah.
then you know what to expect.
Man, but being a champion, man, you know, like, man, that's a whole nother feeling, man. I can't even describe. I know it's just high school level, but to see the kids that we beat that are going to like Oregon and see that some of the kids went to Texas A&M,
Yeah.
it's like, dang, like what we did in high school is kind of big because, you know, you don't see, there can only be one champion. And so to see us be at the top and see that my brothers that I was struggling with in the practice and bleeding with and sweating with, for them to be at the top is like, it really, it's more of like, dang, we really did it. Like we did it as a brotherhood. Like, and then after that, you know, I'm gonna go to Ohio State. There's nobody from my school there, but it's gonna be kids from Notre Dame that we're gonna play. That's like, we still remember that championship we had together. It like, it goes further than just winning this championship. It's like years down the line, we could just talk about that, sit on the couch and be like, hey, remember that game we played? So it is more than just a football game.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Talk about your parents and all the things it is that they did to get you ready. I mean, already there's family driving you across Southern California to get you to school, right? But then talk about how your parents had the vision, despite what anybody else was doing in their circle, that for their son, they would have their son play for the Ducks, right? And then instead of going to the high school where Bobby Wagner went to high school, Colony High School, right down the street. It's right down, I mean, that's what, 10, 15 minutes away from the crib, right? To have the vision, what is your appreciation level and what is your awareness and how would you characterize the sacrifices your parents made for you?
Man, so, man, it's like, you know, I'm not a parent, so I can't really express how much they do for me and understand all fully. But man, like I didn't even want to go to Bosco in the first place. But, you know, being a mom.
Say that again. Say that again.
I didn't want to even go to Bosco in the first. I wanted to be a regular kid, go to Chafee.
But your parents said, go, keep going.
And the reason why is because, you know, just being a mom and a dad, you're just going to want the best for your kid. You're going to want the best for your son. You know, I have siblings that play football. I have cousins that play football, but nobody ever made it to the level that I was on. So for it to get to that point, my mom had to make sacrifices such as like just moving houses just to be a little closer to the school. I had to, you know, just my mom having to pay a little extra for another house for me to be comfortable in, to be closer to the school. Like, it's just little things like my mom waking up a little earlier. She would work in LA just so she could take me to school and then go to work in LA. And then, you know, like everybody would like to work from home, but my mom took that sacrifice just to get me to school on time. My pops was the one paying for the tuition. You know, it's a private school, so this tuition needs to be paid.
And it ain't cheap,
man,
y'all.
I'm saying,
It's not cheap.
Man, and you know, I got nothing to do with the money that's being paid, so it's kind of like, man, I either have to take this shot or I don't. And, you know, I take it for granted a lot. You know, I'm not the best in school, so for me to, you know, get bad grades is kind of like dishonoring my parents. So, you know, I feel bad in a lot of ways. But it's like the more years went on, the more I had to mature and realize what's being put in front of me. And it was like, so in the Bible, like it talks a lot about how God has our lives planned out. And I believe that God has our life perfectly planned out, even when our life's not perfect. So it's like, even though I'm going through these ups and downs, having to travel an hour just to go to school, I knew that it was for a reason. Like I knew God had a reason why I was here in this structure. And, you know, like as time prevailed, now I'm going to the number one school in the country, and that's Ohio State. So
let's go. Okay, what camera we on? Epi, look into that camera and thank your mom and dad here on the Coach V Show for the sacrifices.
Man, I'm on a Coach V Show, Island City, and I just want to thank my parents first and foremost. You guys did a lot for me, and I can never repay you guys, but I love you guys, and I will. I'll try.
Yeah. You can pay them back a little bit. You can pay them back a little. Go, don't worry, mom and dad gonna ask you for a little bit too. And that's okay. That's just how life is, man. That's how life is. Talk about family in your life. a lot of Polynesians, not always me, and even the Tongan thing. I'm not always the person that's like wants to carry the Tongan flag for the Tongan people. I'm just trying to do me. And then some people will say, "Hey man, it's so good to see a Tongan." And then being in a family structure, because it's loving and it's kind and it feels strong, but it's also fucking draining. Can I be real? Is this real talk? So talk about how family is important to you and just all of that on how you view relationships, family, being Tongan.
Yeah. Well, you know, being Tongan, family comes first, no matter if you like it or not. You know, it's just comes
Say
to
that
culture.
again, whether you
like it or not, man. Whether you like it or
That's
not, you got
real.
to share a room. You got to share a bed growing up, man.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
You know, I was in a bunk bed my whole life, man. It wasn't just till recently where I got my own room. Me and all my
That's
siblings.
real.
Yeah, so you know, just being like, family's kind of, it just comes first in this culture, in this Tongan culture, this Polynesian culture. It just comes first. You know, if you ask a person of another race about our race, they're gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, very, very family orientated," and that's just to go show that, you know, even the others see it. You know, and it's just like it means everything, man. Even like I said, if you like it or not, you fight. If you fight with your brother in the morning, you're gonna forgive him by the time the night ends. It's just gonna how it goes. So you know, just growing up with all the siblings that I have in the same household, it kind of just taught me how much they really mean. Because you know, I'm gonna go to a school where there's no Polynesians, where there's like no polyculture in general. You know, there's some Polynesians in Ohio, but none that I know. So I'm gonna be going out there and, you know, really appreciate. It wasn't until now where I really realized what I had. You know, I have a lot of family at the games who are cheering my name, and I used to tell my mom, like, "Man, chill. Like, why you got to be the loudest one every time?"
Now
Friday?
it's just gonna be you out there.
Man,
Huh? Come on. That's real talk.
Now I'm gonna have people I don't even know cheering for me, and it's like nothing's gonna hit the same as your family. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be, you know, it's just like those little things, man. I'm gonna miss it. You know, your family like is everything, and it like I would encourage those who don't have the best relationship with their family to, you know, kind of tie it in together, because when it all ends, man, and you're in that casket, the ones who are gonna be, you know, kissing on that casket is your family, man. And, you know, just if you ever get jumped or in a problem, you know, the first one's gonna pull up is your brothers and sisters. So, man, I can't appreciate my family enough. My sister especially. They do a lot for me, man. I don't even thank them for it. So, you know, family means a lot. Just being Tongan, someone, whatever it is.
So this is one thing that I took into the football locker room, both as a coach and as a player. I noticed that the normal family coming out of high school is a fucking dysfunctional family.
Yeah, thanks.
And that's the norm. Instead of chasing the norm being every family's lovey-dovey, they never fight, they never argue. That's not how real family is. A normal family is actually a dysfunctional family, and not where people are killing each other, but it's not always just amazing. How did you take, because the Tongan culture, man, our families are dysfunctional,
Man.
right? But then you go into where you gotta compete, right? That's what I took. It's like, man, I can't stand half of my brothers and sisters. I can't stand half of y'all asses. But when we on the field together, it's game time. We gonna go.
Man.
Is that real at all for you in your experience?
Man, you talking about high school in general? Or
I'm talking about like your family, seeing how Tongans roll, how dysfunctional it is. It's like, hey man, it's not supposed to be all easy and everybody loves each other. There is opposing views. Some people don't like you, even in your own family. Is that real or not?
Man, I'll fight my brother every day. Growing up, man, so like, that's just real. And so,
This is real.
My mom, man, my mom's she has all sisters, so she, you know, sometimes she wouldn't understand. She'll just be like, you know, there's people out here dying, and you guys are fighting in my own household, like people are outside, you know, killing each other, and I can't even stop my own two sons from fighting each other.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, we boys living in the same room. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I feel
real.
like that's such a fact, man. Like the families, like, there's no family has no problems. You know, nobody's perfect. There's only one perfect man, and that was Jesus Christ. So like, man, even the team, like your team's only gonna get closer the more they fight, because that's just what brothers do. That's just what boys do. Because at the end of the day, my brother Dutch on St. John Bosco, he always talks about how we could fight through the whole week, but come Friday night, best believe I'm be going to war for you. Because he's my brother, man. Like, you got to think, like, we're fighting for what? Because we're both trying to fight for the same rep. Because we're both trying to fight for each other. And because come Friday night, we're gonna be both playing the same position. That's why we're fighting each other. Because we're gonna who wants to play harder. That's who wants to fight the most. And then so when these fights, you know, happen, it's like, it's just building the chemistry, man. That's just what comes with the game at this point. And nobody's perfect, so that's just really what comes with life. You're gonna have struggles. You're gonna have fights. You know, whether it's physically or mentally, the fights are gonna be there. Everybody goes through it every day. But that's why this life with Christ is so like, it's hard to live, because you're gonna have to fight yourself every day, man. You go
Say
through,
that again.
man. This life crisis is a struggle because you fight yourself every day. So, meaning, like, man, you might have a temptation to do something, but you just gotta fight yourself in that temptation you're going through, and then ultimately you'll be a better person. Just like how the fights are with your teammates. By the end of that day, you'll be a better person because you know what the problem was and how to solve it.
Very good, very good. Talk about some of the struggles that you faced in your young career. But you sound so wise, man.
Oh,
like,
nah.
like you're figuring it out and all that. But yet you're still so humble. Like, but you are that guy. And whether you want to be that guy or not, here on the Coach V show, I'm telling you, you're that guy.
Man,
and
actually,
you have to be that guy,
Yeah.
right? And then we're going to be watching. So how have you overcome some of the challenges that you've faced?
Man,
and
so,
what
like,
are some of those? If you could give us a couple examples.
Man, that's one of the struggles actually. Like, I never wanted to be the guy. Like, I never wanted to have.
Say that again.
Man, I never wanted to be the guy. I never wanted to be like this Ohio State, like this #1. Like, I never. And that was the biggest struggle of mine because I felt like I was living out the dream that my brothers couldn't. Like, you know, all my brothers. Mikey played football. You know, Mikey, JJ, you know, everybody. It's kind of like.
They want to see I have championship with my brother.
Yeah.
At Colony, yeah.
And then so, like, I felt like I was doing what my brothers wanted to do, and it kind of felt to me that, like, man, you know, I'm kind of living out a dream that was never mine. It was my brothers, you know, like, so it's kind of like I struggle with the attention I was getting. I struggle with the, you know, trying to be this person that everybody's seen me as, you know, so it's kind of like just realizing that I'm living this life that is meant to be mine. Like,
say that again, Epi,
Yeah,
so
just
you
living
can
it-
just hear yourself say that.
man, living this life that is meant to be mine, man. And I think this is the first time I'm really admitting it, that, like, this life is mine. And, you know, God gave it to me. It's a blessing, and I got to realize that my pops was the one to really stress on me that I wouldn't be here if God didn't bless me with the life that I'm living. So kind of the reason why I got over those humps that I was going through, or those bumps, is because I realized that I'm living life alone. I'm living what I want to do. Like, man, I'm getting offers and I'm getting this attention. Like, it's a blessing. But to me, it's like, man, I don't want that. Like, I want to be a regular kid, not knowing what's really ahead of me. And it's because God was really blessing me with it. And for me to not look at it as a blessing was like me dishonoring God, really. So for my pops to sit me down and just be like, you have to realize what you have in front of you, whether you want it or not. The life that you put in the life that God put in front of you is really a blessing. So for me to look at it in that standpoint instead of a flesh standpoint is when I was really truly able to overcome what I was going through. To realize that, like, I'm living what my flesh wants and not what God wants. And when I realized that, like, all right, if this is what God wants, I'm gonna try to see it through. And when I did is when I was able to prosper. So it's kind of like that step of maturing is really what got me to where I am today.
That's amazing.
But I wouldn't be here without God, so I'm gonna get that point straight right there.
Yeah, amen. So Via, if you're watching, and this is Epi's mom, and Via asked, V, can you send me the questions? And I was like, no, I already looked at all of Epi's press conferences. He does not need the questions.
Oh,
and
man.
validated because how articulate you are, how cerebral you are in your approach to thinking. And can I give you one secret when you're in front of the camera in the press, the national
go ahead.
press?
I'll take it.
You give the press everything they want to hear, but you don't tell them shit.
Oh,
That's the secret. It's how you tell and give them the answer that they want, but you never give up the juice on what the real game plan is, what your real next move is, right? Coaches do that very well. And I can only say that to a person, just like if it was my client.
Yeah.
I can't coach my client a certain way if they can't handle it or soak it in and deploy it, but you can, right? So lastly here, and make this one short, we only got about 45 seconds for your response, is if you had a message, Epi Sitanelei's message to the world, like what would that be?
Man, it would be tell them everything they want to hear, but don't give them the juice.
Coachable. No, your deal.
Right,
what would be your deal?
Man, one of the best things I was learning is that was that, like, God truly, I said earlier that God truly has your life perfectly planned out, even when your life's not perfect. So have faith and be strong and stand down 10 toes.
Very good. Hey, man, thanks for taking time.
Thanks for having me.
To all the teachers at St. John Bosco, thank you for letting him out. He's at a doctor's appointment. Coach V's personal development doctor's appointment. And here's my final as I hear Pastor Epi Sitanilei and his testimony about his faith in God. Psalms 23 said about the shepherd's psalm. And in that, instead of the verse, I would love all of us to think about knowing the exact scripture of the shepherd's psalm is one thing. But like this young man right here, is that you, me, and we, that we not only know the Bible verse, but we actually know the shepherd. And that's where the juice is right there. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in on the Coach V as we play Sports Center. Man, come on, Sports Center. You need some Island City media flavor with some William Itafokta Tape Lava Tui vibes who can handle the Polynesian names right there. Bring Island City in. We could do that for you. That's what we're just talking there. And thank you, Epi, for coming in. Thank you to your sister for driving in. Via, my sister, thank you so much for allowing your son. And Viva, thank you so much for also allowing your son to come over here on the Coach V show. And that's it. That's a wrap. Be on the lookout for this young man. I think he's going to be wearing number 4 over at The Ohio State University. And thank you for tuning in here to the Coach V show, where iron sharpens iron. Together we rise on Island City, where the beach meets the streets. Your boy Epi, your boy Coach V. One love. Till next time. Off to baby. Choo!